What is going on, comic book fans? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another Wednesday pull list, which is your hype video for New Comic Day. And this week's New Comic Day is March 19th of 2025. And that's tomorrow, guys. Maybe it's today for you when you're watching this video, but this video is all about getting you pumped and excited for the amazing covers and the amazing new comics coming out this week on New Comic Day that I am really excited for. So let's not waste any more time. Let's dive into all the amazing covers that I found that are coming out this week on New Comic Day with my cover lover picks. There are 28, that's right, 28 cover lover picks on this week's list, so this might hurt your wallet just a little bit. But guys, first up is Absolute Batman issue number 6 with the cover B variant done by Frank Whiteley. It's Frank Whiteley, man. Either you love him or you hate him, or maybe you're in the middle. Maybe there's not just love and hate, but I really enjoy this cover, and it's my favorite for this issue. That's not an exclusive. Next up, Detective Comics issue number 1095 with the cover B variant done by Bruno Redondo. I'm a sucker for Redondo. I see this guy's art and it's just like, I love it. Even though this is definitely not his best, but it's still super cool. You got Batman, looks like he's like jumping off a building and his cape's going up, but then you see all the little bats and the kid falling, so it's like him falling when he was a kid. How cool is that? Next up, Nightwing issue number 124 with the cover B variant done by Jorge Fornes. This guy, his concepts for covers are so cool. In this one, you got a bunch of Polaroids and he like put them all together and you see Nightwing and it's also the Nightwing symbol. How clever is that? That is so cool. Jorge, man, you're such a good artist. All right, guys, next up, we got Absolute Flash issue number 1. I am so excited for this. And this cover right here is really interesting. This is the Diamond UK variant and also the 1 in 5 Virgin Diamond UK variant done by Fabrizio De Tomaseo. And it's really cool, really cool. And I guess this version of the Flash is going to be really young because every single cover makes him look like a young kid. But this is a super cool cover. I'm guessing you can only get this in the UK. I'm not 100% sure. This is just what it was labeled as on League of Comic Geeks. Do your own research, find out where you can get this. Maybe I'll have links for it down in the description below if I can find it while editing today's video. But guys, next up it's Absolute Flash issue number 1 with the exclusive from Comic Corner, Eastside Comics, and Sad Lemon Comics done by Otto Schmidt. He's such a good stinking artist. He's on DC vs. Vampires. That's where I found him and fell in love with this guy's artwork, and this cover is super, super cool. Next up, Absolute Flash issue number 1 with the cover C variant done by Dan Panozan. What I like and don't like about this cover is that it's Panozan artwork. It's fabulous, but it kind of makes him look like a girl in this cover, and I'm pretty sure he's not a girl, but this is still a pretty cool cover. All right, guys, next up is Ultimate X-Men issue number 13 with the variant cover done by Martin Simmons. I dropped this book a long time ago, but there has been some really cool covers for it, and this one right here by Martin Simmons is awesome. Creepy as F. Next up, Batman Superman World's Finest issue number 37 with the cover E, which is a 1 in 25 ratio variant done by Yasmin Putri. So cool. I love when you have these covers with Batman and Superman on the cover and they kind of like separate in a way. It is so good. Next up, One World Under Doom issue number 2 with the variant in the 1 in 100 Virgin ratio variant done by Alessandro Cappuccio, and it is so good. Alessandro's artwork is like so amazing. This book, on the other hand, not so much. But let's move on. Next up, the Avengers issue number 24 with the Marvel Rivals variant done by NetEase. And this cover featuring Jeff the Landshark. I don't know, he's so cute and adorable. How do you not like him? And yeah, this cover is just great. Another great Marvel Rivals cover. Next up, Titans issue number 21 with the cover E variant. It is the International Women's Day variant done by Jenny Frison. Not her best, but still really good. How can you not like Starfire? It's so good. Next up, The New Gods issue number 4 with the cover E variant, which is the International Women's Day variant done by Jenny Frison. This one featuring Big Barda. I don't like this as much as this the Titans cover, because Big Barda's face looks a little bit weird, but the rest of her is absolutely fantastic. Next up, Catwoman issue number 74 with the cover A, done by Sebastian Fumera. Awesome. I really like this cover because it kind of looks like Catwoman's face is like breaking apart and almost looks like it's also a mask that was on the person below her. That's really cool. Really cool concept. Next up is Catwoman, issue number 74, with the cover C variant done by Dan Panozin. He can draw women so well, and this cover with the Catwoman is fantastic. Next up, Magic, issue number 3, with the variant in the 1/100 virgin ratio variant done by Jenny Frison. This is just an absolute banger. It is so, so good. Hopefully these covers might be a little bit more vibrant in person, but both these covers are just, I mean, it's the same artwork, but it's so good. If you have the money for that 1/100, congratulations, that's going to be a great pickup. Next up, Magic, issue number 3, with the variant cover done by Namit Malavia. So good. Another Magic cover, another banger. Let's go. Next up is probably my favorite cover of the week. This is Psylocke, issue number 5, with the variant cover in the 1/50 virgin ratio variant done by Ben Harvey. Yeah. I love this cover. I am going to keep an eye out for it, the Virgin, this week. Depending on my budget, I might have to pass it up and just go with the trade dress. But if, you know, we'll see. We'll see what the budget does. But this cover is so, so good. Next up is another good one. Daredevil Unleash Hell, Red Band, issue number 3, with the variant in the 1/50 ratio variant done by Ivan Talavera. Another just Elektra banger. Next up, Sonic the Hedgehog, issue number 77, with the cover B variant done by Natalie Haynes. So good. It's just definitely like a movie-esque poster. It is so good. And next up, Power Rangers Prime 5, issue number 5, with the cover I, which is a 1/50 ratio variant done by Don Angulio. It is just really, really cool. You really got to pay attention and like actually look at to see what's going on. And it's a Yellow Ranger and some other one and a big explosion in the background and they're fighting. So good. Next up, Lilith, issue number 3, with the cover B variant, which is a 1/5 ratio. And there's also a 1/20 virgin ratio variant done by Krish Shaheen. It is just really good. Definitely prefer the virgin. I think the trade dress kind of takes it away from it a little bit, but that virgin, yes please. Next up, Heatseeker Combustion, issue number 4, with the cover A, the cover F foil virgin, and the cover I 1/10 virgin ratio variant done by Ivan Tao. You know I pre-ordered this. This is so good. So, so good. Next up, The Last Boy, issue number 1, with the cover F, which is a 1/25 virgin ratio variant done by Adam Hughes. I don't know much about the book. It's supposed to be Peter Pan, and this is Tinkerbell, obviously, and is Adam Hughes, so what's not to like? Next up, The Loose End, number 2, the cover B variant done by Robert Hack. Obviously, this is a, oh man, I'm blanking on the poster's name. I should have wrote it down. I know I I cannot believe I am forgetting this, but it is a really cool homage to that movie, which I will have up on screen right now. And now, the next 4 covers are all convention exclusives. So you can probably find them online at different places, but they're new artwork to these covers, and I think they're all freaking amazing. So if you can find them for relatively cheap online, good luck. Or if you were at the con, congratulations. Or maybe the con's coming up, because I didn't look up any of that information. But let's go over these covers. First up, Absolute Batman, issue number 1, with the Fan Expo Cleveland 2025 variant done by Jorge Jimenez. I can't believe it took this long to get Jorge to do a cover for Absolute Batman. This cover is so good. Next up, Absolute Wonder Woman, issue number 1, with the Fan Expo Cleveland 2025 variant done by Artgerm. So good. And there are a bunch of different versions. And there is a version where looks like her tattoo on her arm is all going to be foil. So it's a spot foil. How cool is that? So good. Next up, Absolute Superman, issue number 1, with the Fan Expo Cleveland 2025 variant done by Frank Whiteley. Again, I'm a big fan of his. I think this artwork is so, so good. Now, while making the final list for this video today, because I did the, the not top 3, but the books you gotta see it, I made that list right before recording the video, I found this cover. This is Absolute Batman, issue number 1, with the Fan Expo Philadelphia 2025 foil variant done by Clay Mann. That is incredibly good. So good. Like, I love the fact that the gun is really huge, and it's just like Batman's all crouched over, and I don't know, something about the colors are amazing. I freaking love this cover. This is amazing. So I most likely won't own any of those at any point unless I find them super cheap somewhere, but all these covers are amazing and I want to give you guys the information. So if those cons are coming up, keep a lookout for those. If they already happened, guess what? Go online, try to find them. All right, guys, that is it for my cover lover picks this week. We got to move on to the rest of today's video, and next up, we got to take a look at my pull list. All right, guys, as you guys can see, this list is decent. Actually, this is actually pretty far away. I didn't get very close today. Let's get a little bit closer. Oh, God, there we go. This list is decent size. It almost covers the full ultra-wide monitor, but this is small and blurry. You guys can't see what that is, so let me go and throw them up on screen right now. Guys, there are a total of 20 books on my pull list this week, which isn't too bad. It's not too big, not too small. There is one new #1, and if we break down this list by publisher, we get 8 DC books, 6 Marvel books, and 6 indie titles. All right, guys, there is one book that I did not read the previous issue to, and that is X-Force, whatever number it is. I didn't write it down over there like an idiot, but that book cannot make the top 3 list, but the rest of the books can. All right, let's go ahead and move over to the next section, which is the new #1 that I think you guys should be excited about because I personally love this universe, love the creative team, and I love this freaking character. All right, before we dive into this new #1, I just gotta ask you guys, can you do me a favor? If you're enjoying this video, please smash that like button. It helps me and this channel out so much. I think a couple weeks ago, we got 200 likes on the video, and that's like one of the all-time highs for likes. So if you guys would do me a favor, if you're enjoying today's content, just smash that like button. All right, guys, let's go ahead and check out that new #1. All right, I already said I like the universe, I like the character, and I love the creative team. Can you guys guess what book it is? Well, I'm sure some of you can, maybe some of you cannot, but let me go ahead and lay it on you. It is Absolute Flash, issue #1, with the creative team of Jeff Lemire as the writer and Nick Robles as the artist. This is gonna be, hopefully, an absolute banger. The Absolute universe so far has been so good. So good. Absolute Superman is like every single issue is mind-blowingly good. Absolute Wonder Woman, the changes to the character are so perfect, but she's still Wonder Woman. The quintessential part of her is still there. And Batman, the changes that Scott Snyder's been doing has been an absolute blast with every single issue. Now, this has me pumped because Jeff Lemire has such a epic past with stories. One of my favorite all-time stories from DC Comics is a run on Animal Man by Jeff Lemire that crossed paths with Swamp Thing, written by Scott Snyder. It was so dark and so twisted, but so well written. It was amazing. And if we can get just a little bit of that, not the darkness, because I think the Flash should be more of a light character, but just his storytelling and the way that he can craft stories, I hope we can get that. Now, Nick Robles, I don't know as an artist, I don't think at least. I'm sure I've read something with his artwork in it. I'll make sure I have preview images because I did find some. They are really good. And just the Flash, he's such a cool character. Now, let's go and read the synopsis for this. Jeff Lemire and Nick Robles speed into the Absolute universe. Without a mentor, without the family, without the Speed Force, what's left is the Absolute Scarlet Speedster. So, how is he going to get this speed? I like that he's going to be young and he's not going to have the weight of having a family. He's just going to be a kid dealing with this, but maybe he is going to have some parents and his parents are going to like be in trouble or going to be looking out for him and worried for him. That could be really cool. And just without any mentor, he's going to be learning on his own in this big Absolute universe that's a little bit more dark. Oh, it's going to be really good, guys. I can feel it in my bones. This is going to be a banger. Now, I've already shown you guys my favorite covers for this issue. I'll make sure I share some of the others or the rest of them while I'm talking about this book. But guys, come on. If you're already enjoying the Absolute universe, obviously you got to pick this up. If you're not, and you like Jeff Lemire as a writer, pick this up. Put your toes in. Not dive in, put your toes in. Just like see what it's like. Be like, oh, do I like this absolute universe? Oh, maybe it is. Oh, it's a little warm. I'm gonna put the rest of my leg in. And then you're gonna be waist deep, and then you're gonna be neck deep, and then you're gonna be all in, and you're gonna enjoy it, because I promise you this universe is really, really good. Yeah, that is the new number 1 that I'm really excited about. I hope you guys get really excited about it, and you pick it up. And then you're gonna go down in the comments, and you're gonna tell me, oh my God, Bruce, thank you so much for telling me to pick this up, because it was freaking awesome. All right, number 1 out of the way. Now it's time to dive into the top 3 books that I think you guys should be excited about and should pick up, because the previous issues got me so pumped and so excited for the books coming out this week. All right, guys, in the number 3 spot is a book. I was so pumped for issue number 1. I read issue number 1, and it was good. I would say leaning towards great, but I didn't read really any comic books this week that were freaking amazing. This week was full of a lot of good, and this is the best of the good right here. These top 3 books, at least. So first up, we got Bug Wars, issue number 2, coming from the writer of Jason Aaron. It has art by Muhammad Asrar, and I gotta tell you, the art was the best part of that book. Issue number 1, at least. Issue number 1 is just, the art is so mind-bogglingly good. This book is violent. This book is detailed. This book, I love the fact that this world that we're gonna live in is super small, but it's still in the real world, which is so cool. Now, to give you a very brief idea of what this story is, there are groups of races that are bugs, but there are also people with them, and they are warring against each other, like ants versus beetles versus... There was one other race I believe they showed very briefly, and that's the very beginning of the book. These 2 armies coming at each other, warring together. There's death, there's destruction, and then there's a big storm, and you learn that this big storm was actually someone pushing a lawnmower over the grass, which was both funny and sad for the warring clans. But then you learn that you're really going to follow this family, and this family is moving back into this house, which was owned by the father, and the father has passed away very gruesomely, and scarred the older son, because there's 2 sons. It's an older son and a younger son. The younger son fell in love with the same passion that the father had, which is bugs. And the older son is actually terrified of bugs, and I'm not going to tell you why. You're going to have to read the book to find out. And in moving back into this house, they were hoping to find a little bit of peace, and they're also struggling for money. That's another reason why they moved to this house. But then so much more happens. I'm not going to tell you anymore, because I'm sure some of you guys can guess by especially looking at this cover, but that has the youngest son on it. So a little teaser there. But overall, it's a fun story. I'm really excited to see where this book is going to go. But this first issue was definitely, I felt a little formulaic. I kind of saw everything as it was happening, and there wasn't anything new and shocking. I was like, oh, this is going to happen. It happened. But the story is still so interesting, and I'm excited to see where this is going to go, and I want to know what happened to the father, because that was a gruesome death, and I want to know what caused it. So I'm in. It's Jason Aaron. He's such a great writer. I loved Once Upon a Time at the End of the World. I'm loving Absolute Superman. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is really good, and I think Bug Wars, especially with the art by Muhammad Asrar, is going to be a really fun book. All right, guys, that is the number 3 book. Let's go ahead and move over to the number 2. Absolute Universe, guys. I've already talked about it. It's so great. And this week, we get Absolute Batman issue number 6. And this is coming from the writer of Scott Snyder. And yes, it is going to have art by Nick Dragotta. These 2, when they're together, because we've had 2 issues, I want to say so far, at least 1. I want to say 2, where there's been fill-in artists already. But Nick Dragotta's back, and when they're teaming up and they're telling this story, it is so good. Now, in issue number 5, Batman, in issue number 4, I should say, there was a cliffhanger where he accepted a bunch of money, and this is Bruce Wayne, and I thought that was going to be terrible. He was like taking money from a bad guy to become rich, and I thought he was going to spend that money on technology so that way he can become the Batman of the Batman. But you find out he does not do that in issue number 5, and he gets his ass freaking beat, like stabbed and beat, and so many bad things happen to him. And the world that we're used to Alfred's there to patch him up. Alfred's there to lift him up, or his team of other heroes, because Alfred in the continuity, the main continuity, is dead. So he's not there to patch him up anymore. But he does have other people he can rely on to do that. But in this universe, Alfred told him to go F himself and like walked away. And I was like, what? This is insane. There is so much more to this story, but that was just a big moment that like really solidified that this universe is completely different. It's so different. Batman got the crap beat out of him, stabbed and beat, and ran away and escaped, but then asked for help, and Alfred was basically just like, no, I'm not gonna do that. It was freaking awesome. I'm loving this universe so much because it's so different, but it's still quintessential Batman. He's just darker and harder, and he does different things, and oh, it's so good. And the people around him, like I said, are really different. Alfred is not the Alfred that you guys know. He is completely, he has some elements of Alfred, but he is a different character. All right, guys, that is the number 2 book. I hope you are picking this up. I hope you are reading it, and I hope you are enjoying it as much as I am, because I freaking love this. But I'm also a Batman fanboy, so I'm loving it probably more than most. But let's move on. What is the number 1 book? What book am I most excited to pick up this week based on the previous issues? Well, stick around, find out. All right, guys, the number 1 book that I'm most excited about in a week where there was just mostly good books, nothing too great, is Detective Comics issue number 1095, or 5 issues from 1,100 issues, which is freaking crazy. But guys, this story by Tom Taylor and Mikel Janin is freaking amazing. I am really enjoying this. It started off a little slow, especially after coming off the Rom V Rom, which is like an opera epic. It was so out there, and it was just not a story for me. But this one by Tom Taylor, it's much more grounded, much more easy to follow, because Rom V's was all over the place and not easy to follow. And it's just Batman doing Batman things. It was so good. At the start of issue number 1094, there's a kid that is dying, and Batman got injected with an anesthetics, and that was like basically putting him to sleep. And Batman being Batman, he was able to do like voice activate a pouch on his belt that took a needle out that stabbed in a reversal drug to what he was given, which was amazing and crazy and dumb all at the same time. It was a Batman thing, which is so over the top. It's so good, and that's missed in a lot of the Batman books. Like they skip over that stuff. It's just more about detective work or beating people up or the other things. It was almost kind of like the shark repellent to me. It was like, that is so ridiculous, but it was so good. And then it focused more on saving this kid's life and trying to, then it was like more the detective work, but also there were moments of just Batman doing like loving and caring things for Damian Wayne, which is overlooked so often. And I don't know, there's so much more to this book, and I don't want to just go over, try to catch you up on this whole Tom Taylor arc, but it's really good. And just that moment with the Bat Belt made me laugh out loud and smile, and it helped me enjoy the rest of the issue. And Mikel Janin's artwork is so stinking good. So good. Like, I forget that he's an artist sometimes until he's on a book, and then you're just flipping through the pages and everything has so much detail. And there's the page layouts and everything about it is just fantastic. And I just love this as a nice, easy story to follow after the Rom V space opera. Not space opera, opera. Whatever you want to call it. It was so difficult to follow. And yeah, Mikel Janin's artwork, Tom Taylor is a great writer. Overall, this was, in my opinion, I am most excited to get my hands on this because I want to see what's going to happen. What's going to happen to Damian Wayne? What's going to happen to Bruce Wayne? Why are these kids dying? Are they going to be able to protect them? I want to know, and I genuinely want to find out. All right, guys, that is the #1 book that I'm most excited to pick up, but this is not the end of today's video. No, we got to cover the not top 3, but the books you're going to see, which are the rest of the books on my pull list. All right, I'm gonna do my best to make this quick and snappy, so let's go ahead and dive into this list. First up is the book that I did not read, X-Force issue number 8. I didn't read that issue, so X-Force issue number 9 cannot be on any list. But up next, guys, are all the okay books. I cannot suggest that you guys pick these up because they were just okay. And first up is The Avengers issue number 24. This is super sad. It's written by Jed MacKay. This series should be freaking fantastic, but it really is. This whole run so far has just been okay. Next up, Miles Morales, Spider-Man, issue number 31. This is in the middle of a crossover right now with Deadpool, and the artwork was lame. The writing was lame. I did not like the issue, like, at all. I was going to put this on the chopping block, but I'm not going to chop it because I want to see what's going to happen after this crossover with Deadpool. Hopefully it gets a lot better. Next up, One World Under Doom, issue number 2. Same with this one. I almost put this on the chopping block, but I'm like, no, pump the brakes. It's only been one issue. Give it a few, and then we can talk about chopping it or not. But this is supposed to be a big crossover event, and it's just, that first issue was a slog to get through. And it did not get interesting until the very end, and it wasn't good in my opinion. That's why it's in the okay. If this doesn't get better in the next 2 issues, chop chop. Next up, the good books. First up, we got Batman, Superman, World's Finest, issue number 37. Issue number 36 was good. It has amazing artwork by Adrian Gutierrez, but it's just they're with Aquaman doing some cool things with the Floranic Man. I totally butchered that name, but he's like the Woodrow. Professor Woodrow, he's like a plant dude, and he's under the sea, and he's like, you know, screwing with those people down there with the plant life down there, and Swamp Thing came in. So there's some pretty good elements down there. Next up, Deadly Tales of the Gunslinger Spawn. Issue number 4 comes out this week. Issue number 3 was good. Issue number 2 was good. And issue number 1, good. This is a solid, good series telling the origin story of the Gunslinger Spawn. If you're into that, check it out. Next up, Deadpool Wolverine, issue number 3. Issue number 2 was definitely better than issue number 1. Big radioactive dinosaurs. And Deadpool and Wolverine and Maverick are going to fight them. It's going to turn out to be pretty freaking cool. Next up, Eddie Brock, Carnage, issue number 2. Issue number 1 was good. Yeah, I was surprised too. I was like, how is this good? Because it's written by Charles Soule. That's why. Eddie Brock has the Carnage symbiote in him, and he's made a deal with Carnage that they will find people to kill. They'll just be bad guys. They won't just be random people. And so he's fighting against Carnage because obviously Carnage wants to kill everyone because he's a serial killer. And it's pretty interesting. I'm excited to see where this is going to go. Next up, G.I. Joe, issue number 5, Joshua Williamson. I forgot who the artist is. Tom Riley, I want to say. And this is just a good book. I don't know much about G.I. Joe. I don't know if this is really awesome G.I. Joe-ness or this is just good. So if you're a G.I. Joe historian and you remember the cartoon, you love the cartoon, you had all the action figures, tell me in the comments below, should I like this more? Because honestly, it's just good to me. Next up, King Spawn, issue number 43. Yeah, it was good. Again, everyone has their powers back. It's cool to see Spawn being able to use his chains and go through darkness and teleport and do that kind of thing. And they're hunting down some bad guys that are capturing children and killing them. Pretty cool. I want more though. This has to be more. They have to go back and deal with the fact that vampires have been ruling the world for so long. It seems like King Spawn just kind of like took a hard right and they're doing something else now. Don't do that. Finish the vampire story. Next up, The New Gods, issue number 4 comes out this week. Issue number 3 was confusing as F. Yeah, Ron V, man. He can do stuff that's so good and then just confuse the piss out of you. This issue number 3, they dealt with like these 3 gods that were on other planets, and like one killed another and ate the other one, and their names were confusing, and I don't know how this is going to tie into what's happening on Earth, but the last 3 pages had Mr. Miracle and Barda, and it was freaking amazing. So good, but it took the rest of the issue to get there. Why do we need this? Obviously, it's probably going to come around. I'm going to understand why, but it was like, I hate when characters have names I cannot pronounce, and they're so in everything, every world I cannot pronounce, and everything is just, it makes it so confusing. And that's what the main thing about issue number 3 was. It was just confusing, and I didn't understand why I needed that information, and hopefully I do in the future, and I am like, oh man, issue number 3 was so great, it should have been in the great, but I'm putting it in the good. Next up, Nightwing, issue number 124. I don't know, guys. When Tom Taylor was writing this, this was epic. Every single issue was almost in the great or on the top 3 list, and this is just, it's kind of lame. Like, all these bad guys are fighting each other, and he's trying to protect them all, and now the city has been given, their police force has been giving all these souped up weapons, and they're killing these poor kids that are in these gangs, and Nightwing's doing his best to help, but now his sister, is she going to agree with the person who's giving the city all these guns because she's the mayor and she can approve this stuff? Is she going to go against Nightwing? It's kind of lame. I'm going to finish it off, and I want to see where they're going to go from here. But right now, this is just a good book, teetering towards the okay. Next up is Zatanna, issue number 2. Issue number 1, fun. It was a fun read. Felt like Jamal Campbell did take a little bit from the Black Label series, because in the Black Label series that came out a little while ago, written by, I forgot. I'm not even going to try to guess. But Zatanna was on stage putting on a show, and that's when the book really started. Started the same way in this one. But Jamal Campbell's artwork is so gorgeous. Like, every single page is just stunning to look at. And it did end in a really fun way. All of her crew members that are working on the show got pulled into a painting that was basically controlled by the White Lady, which was this ultra powerful magician. And there was a good lead up to what happened at the end. Because one of her stage crew members or performers did something bad. Woo! Is there a twist? Is he mind controlled? I don't know. I gotta read issue number 2. Next up, The Great. There's only 3 books. Batman and Robin, year 1, issue number 37. I'm loving this series by Mark Waid. It also has art by Chris Samney. So great. I love just taking a look at the beginning of Dick Grayson and Bruce Wayne's relationship and how they're maneuvering through a lot of the fact that this is the first Robin and Batman's not used to dealing with kids, and like he's trying to keep them in school but he doesn't want to be in school. And a lot of pushback on the father-son stuff. There's just a lot of really cool elements in this book, and I'm really enjoying it, and the art by Chris Samney is fantastic. If you like Batman and you like Robin, check this series out. Next up, The Sacrificers, issue number 15. We're getting pretty deep into this series, and we're still getting banger issues. Issue number 14 was awesome. We're dealing with the fallen god that does not have her god-like powers anymore, and she has a plague inside of her. Whenever she falls asleep, the plague comes out and kills everyone around them. And it's a big problem for her because she's trying to get back to her father and get back to being a god, but she just causes destruction everywhere she goes. It's pretty cool. And the final book is The Rockefellers, issue number 4. Comes out this week. Issue number 3 was really great. This whole series, dealing with this family stuck in the past when they're from way into the future, is so cool. I'm really enjoying it. And at the beginning of issue number 3, we got a little more insight into the villains that are chasing them down, because maybe they're not villains, but I think they're going to be. And I'm excited to see where this book is going to go, because I have no idea. But the way that they're telling the story with the family, and they're so connected and loving and caring about each other, it's so fantastic. And I love the dad, or the grandfather. He's like 120 something years old, but he works out all the time, and the old ladies in the town think he's so hunky, so they're starting to like exercise with him and stuff. So cute, so adorable, love it. All right guys, that is the not top 3, but the books you gotta see. That means it's time to wrap this video up. All right, guys, we are at the end of today's video, and if I seemed a little off or a little, I don't know, not myself, because I feel it. I don't know. I didn't have the mojo today, and I don't know. I'm sorry if this video is not as good as it normally is, because I did really feel off while recording this whole video, but this is a decent week of comics, especially for cover lover picks. There are so many good cover lover picks. And are you guys going to any of those cons? Have those cons happen? Guys, let me know down in the comments below. Because maybe I need you to pick me up that Clayman cover, and that Jorge Jimenez, and that Archer, and that Frank Wiley cover, because they were all so good. But yeah, this is the end of today's video. If you guys watch from the beginning all the way to this point in today's video, I just gotta say, you guys are legends. True supporters of the channel in this video series. I love you guys so, so much. If you guys could do me a favor, smash a like button. Like I said earlier in the video, it does help this video out so much in this channel when you guys like this video, because it pushes it out to more people. More people see the video, more people get excited about comic books, hopefully, and that helps the hobby. Now, last but not least, guys, if you watched today's video and you're not subscribed, but you enjoy comic book content, I just gotta say, what are you doing? Get yourself subscribed, hit that bell for notifications, and smash that like button. Now, last but not least, before I sign off, I just want to thank everyone who left questions for me for my Probing Bruce video. That's going to come up at the end of this month. I haven't started recording yet. I'm hopefully going to record Friday morning before work starts. I did start collecting all the questions, and you guys are just fantastic. Thank you guys so much for giving me ammunition for a video, and I really, really appreciate it, and I want to let you guys know. All right, guys, that's going to do it for today's video. I'll see you on Thursday or Friday with my final order cutoff video. Have a great new comic book day, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.